Welcome back to part 3 in our series on establishing a strong YouTube channel foundation. In the previous video, we discussed the channel format and the channel layout. The format being the type of content, the nature of the content, what playlist structures we'd be setting up. Also, we mentioned how to direct the traffic through your YouTube channel to a landing page, trying to get the point of sale conversion, or at least the email capture and engagement with the client. So now what we need to do is talk about the videos themselves. Most YouTube channels will experience burnout. That's a reality that happens to some of the biggest creators. What I want to do today is initially start off with some tips on how to avoid this situation, and also explain the number of videos you need to be making to stay strong on YouTube. So first off, I have Google search open, and I want to emphasize something to you that most people overlook. If you were, for example, selling Dell laptops, or for that matter, Toyota trucks, you would find it incredibly hard to make a YouTube video that would break into the organic search results. In other words, videos just don't make it in this area because most of the optimized websites and the direct sale opportunities from Dell, Best Buy, Staples take precedence. In other words, it's just too crowded here with this type of mainstream product. Now, this is where a small business or direct sales company takes advantage over the big businesses, because your content is somewhat proprietary, or at least it's niche. It's not really a mainstream product. You're able to take over the search result with a simple YouTube video. Now, if you've watched the other two videos, you already know this is the gist of what we're getting at. We want to control these search results. Now, there's a few ways to do this, but there's one way in particular that I think is one of high integrity and also high efficiency. It works, and it also is something people will enjoy. So when we talk about creating content, one thing you need to remember is don't create your first video and then immediately upload it. This is the most important tip I can give you today in this video right now. Don't upload content immediately. Give yourself a buffer. You want to create maybe 3 to 5 videos in advance and then schedule them using the upload scheduler that YouTube has. If you list a video as scheduled, it will ask you the date and time. Set up a day that works for you. Most small channels try to sneak in on Thursdays because Friday, Saturday, Sunday are so competitive. You have to find out what schedule works best for you. Most of the time, smaller channels can upload during the week without too much trouble. If you have videos scheduled 3 to 5 weeks in advance, it immediately lessens the pressure on you, and you find that you're able to keep up with it more than likely. So that's the most important step to remember. Build that buffer up of content. So what type of content should you create? Now, the reason we create 3 videos for each product or service that you want to promote or sell is quite obvious. There's 3 organic video search results in a typical product search on Google. But what's less obvious is the type of videos you need to make. Now, in this particular part of the discussion, we'll be using the Arbonne protein shake strictly for demonstration purposes. The searchability video is the first video you're going to create. It's very short and concise. It can even be just a series of still images with no voiceover narration whatsoever. It can have some background music, some product stills, and then some highlight text discussing what the product's primarily supposed to do, including maybe the price or how much product comes in a package. This video is very simple and therefore very easy to create. It's geared towards Amazon shoppers that are in a hurry that would like to potentially see more information about the product from YouTube. Now, obviously, a 30-second to 2-minute video isn't going to give them much information. And that's where the second type of video comes into play. You're going to create a video between 3 to 5 minutes in length, preferably no longer than 5 minutes in length. Now, this 3 to 5 minute video is sometimes called the authority video or the information video. And primarily its goal is to create your image as an authority on the subject a source to go to for information about the product or service that they're interested in. This video allows you to go through something similar to like a top 5 or top 7 uses of the product, top 5 or 7 things they may not know about the product. So this is where you can showcase your knowledge about the product or service in particular. It does need to be short, but it can be a little more informative than the searchability video was. Now, the third type of video is where you can get creative and expand the target audience. Now, the strategy employed in this third video is quite simple. You're going to take the product or service that you sell and connect it in this video with something that's much more searchable. By doing this, you can expand your audience and increase the reach of the video you're creating. So an example of this would be to connect the Arbonne shake to a weight loss exercise. Arbonne shakes being searched probably 2,000 to 3,000 times per month, and a weight loss exercise as a search term being something that is more like 100,000 times per month. Now, this type of video has the potential to not only increase the audience, the viewership, but earn subscribers, because people that have never heard of your product might find you to be the voice of authority. And that's where those other videos you've already created come into play. They can learn about the products and services you sell because you are an authority on the subject. Now, this is the basic concept between these 3 videos. By creating these videos effectively, you can dominate the organic search results for the products and services you sell at the same time as expanding your audience and establishing yourself as an authority on the products. I want to take a moment to dispel one of the biggest myths in YouTube, that if you could just get 100,000 subscribers or 1 million subscribers, then your videos would get hundreds of thousands or millions of views. That's not the case. There are very few successful channels that are able to match their subscriber numbers with their view counts. On average, most channels struggle to reach even 10% view count based off their subscriber numbers. So, for example, here's a channel with 43,000 subscribers. 10% would be about 4,300 views, right? So we're not able to reach that with this channel. And it's not really her fault, it's just the reality of YouTube. Your subscriber number can be inherently large, but your viewership does not reflect that. Let me give you a more dramatic example. Here's a channel with 366,000 subscribers, and we have videos that are barely able to break 5 figures. In other words, they cannot reach the 10,000 mark. With 366,000 subscribers, you would expect to get somewhere between 20,000 and 30,000 views in a video within several months. That's not what's happening. And this channel is not alone either. Here's a channel that's even larger, 483,000 subscribers, but it's arguably doing quite well. Here's a video a week ago, 76,000 views. So this is actually quite good. This is not what normally happens. Now, you're all familiar with channels that are incredibly strong, like Jaclyn Hill, where they can upload a video within 3 hours, they get 1 million views. Those channels are exceptions to the rule. When we look at YouTube, it's important to have realistic perceptions. Don't fixate on your subscriber number. Don't fixate on your viewership. If you want to be focused on something or obsess over something, obsess over your searchability, your SEO optimization, and responding to the people's comments in your videos themselves. This is a much more productive way to spend your time focusing on YouTube. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. This is where technology comes into play when you're creating content. It doesn't mean you have to spend thousands of dollars on a high-end recording studio either. On the contrary, most cell phones since the iPhone 6 and the Samsung Galaxy 6 are capable of producing high-quality video. You just have to make sure that you set them appropriately and use the forward-facing camera. Do not use the selfie camera, and make sure you don't record in the vertical format. You want to record in the widescreen or landscape mode format. The setting you want to adjust on your cell phone is 1080p at 60 frames per second. 1080p is also known as 1920 by 1080. That's the resolution or the clarity of the image itself. The smoothness of the picture or the video has to do with the frame rate, which is 60 frames per second. Your competition is going to be using more than likely 1080 at 30 frames per second. So by increasing the frame rate, you can get a smoother image than your competition. Now this is going to come into play especially with any kind of animated graphics, such as captioning. Logos that are animated will look much smoother with that setting. Now if you decide to go to the high-end DSLRs, in order to wrap up this video, I'm going to avoid opening the Pandora's box, which is recommending a DSLR camera for you to use. The problem with recommending a DSLR camera is the debate between crop sensor and full frame. Crop sensor cameras will get the job done if all you need is video. If you're going to be doing still photography and you need to capture full frame imagery, you're going to have to spend the extra money because a crop sensor isn't going to cut it. But there's plenty of professional photographers out there that get the job done with crop sensor cameras. Now, when it comes to the lenses, there's an interesting video I will link in the description from Chris Winter. He discusses the difference between 24mm, 40mm, and 50mm lenses. These are extremely low-cost lenses because they're stepper motor lenses. The ultrasonic motor lenses are more expensive. The ultrasonic lenses make noise, unfortunately, that can be picked up in the video. So in this situation, many people go to the less expensive stepper motor when it comes to vlogging. Now, another page I will link showcases the popular vloggers and YouTubers that are out there and the equipment that they use to create content. As you'll notice, there's only a few that are using full frame DSLR cameras. The rest of them are using crop sensor cameras. These are people that could easily afford, such as Casey Neistat, to buy whatever camera they felt like. Casey owns over a dozen of these crop sensor Canons. When you look at this picture here, what you're looking at is a Canon 80D with a 24mm pancake lens. If you go to the video option, it shows 1080p 60 frames per second. This gives a very clear image and a smooth image. YouTube does compress the content that you upload, but you want to make sure that you're giving them the best content you can do. And it doesn't mean you got to spend a fortune to get there. So hopefully this video has been useful. Make sure you check out the next series, which is going to cover some of the advanced techniques such as optimizing videos, cultivating a community, and even discusses some of the paid advertising options you may want to look into to help your channel grow more virally or quickly. All right. Thanks for watching. Take care.